Hello everyone and welcome. In this video I'm going to be sharing my thoughts regarding Morgan's upcoming crossover in Season 4 of Fear the Walking Dead. I'll be looking into why this could potentially be good for the show as well as voicing some of my concerns. There will be some story spoilers for Fear the Walking Dead as well as The Walking Dead in this video, so consider yourselves warned. Anyway, without further ado, let's begin. So firstly, I want to begin this video by discussing why Fear's crossover with The Walking Dead could be a positive thing. The main reason I believe this whole idea has come around in the first place is a sort of a last-ditch effort to save Fear's lackluster viewing figures. Of course, it shouldn't be expected for Fear to match the numbers of its sister show, especially given the head start The Walking Dead has had, but after an iffy first 2 seasons, it does seem like a lot of fans have given up with the spin-off program. The US viewing figures for the first season aren't really too bad, with the lowest rating placing just above the 6.5 million people point. However, the third and latest season struggled to pull little over 2 million viewers every week. Now, if you've seen my latest video regarding Fear's third season, you'll know how much I enjoyed watching it, and I fully believe it deserves to be seen by more people. So, how does this relate to Morgan appearing on the show, you ask? Well, I feel like Morgan will attract more Walking Dead fans to the show who will not only jump on board with the new season, but will also want to catch up with the seasons that have come previously. In fact, I've already spoken to a few of my friends who haven't watched any Fear the Walking Dead, but who have said that they will now watch the first 3 seasons in order to be up to date for when Morgan arrives. So not only will this move attract more people to the upcoming season, but I can also see it encouraging those who haven't watched any episodes of Fear at all to give it a go from the beginning. I don't want to be a scaremonger here, but I honestly feel that if Fear's ratings for Season 4 keep slipping to the point where they end up being even worse than the prior season, then I think there is a small chance that cancellation may be on the cards at AMC HQ. Thankfully, Morgan should be able to provide an uplift in viewership, which can hopefully carry on after he leaves and returns to The Walking Dead, well assuming he doesn't decide to stay with the Clarks after the season has ended. I think that Morgan may be able to provide a temporary solution for a long-term problem, and he may be the catalyst for Fear's viewing figures to kick on and resemble the numbers the show attains during its opening season. In addition, I think that Morgan's crossover will be interesting to watch as a Walking Dead fan, because I believe the event will take place time-wise after Season 8 of The Walking Dead finishes. Comic book fans know that after the war with Negan, the story jumps forward 2 years, with this being alluded to in the TV show with the weird old man Rick dream sequences. Currently, we don't know what happened at all during this period of time, so it will be interesting to see this time skip expanded upon. Why is Morgan with the Clarks? Has Rick sent him on a mission somewhere? Did one of the group receive contact from them? Or does Morgan just become jaded after the all-out war saga comes to an end and wanders around until he comes into contact with Madison and her family? There's a lot of possibilities here, and it could make for some exciting storytelling. And depending on the circumstances behind Morgan's arrival, we could even see some other Walking Dead characters referred to or even make an appearance. Before I move on to examining some of my concerns regarding this crossover, I feel I should briefly explain why I believe Morgan will come into contact with the Clarks chronologically after Season 8 of The Walking Dead finishes. Having thought about it for a while, I believe this is the only argument that really makes sense, and I believe that Fear will skip forward from its Season 3 ending to catch up with The Walking Dead's present. We all know that Fear begins before the initial Walker outbreak, and as of now, according to its wiki page, the latest episode of Season 3 took place 64 days after said outbreak occurred. Contrast this to The Walking Dead, whereby at least a couple of years have already passed since the world went to shit, which makes me think that without a time skip, Morgan's inclusion wouldn't really be possible. I mean, we all know where Morgan was when Rick woke up. He was at his home with his son Dwayne, and even when Rick revisited him in the Season 3 episode Clear, he was still holed up in his house, albeit now without his son. The Season 6 installment Here's Not Here then details what happened to Morgan in between him reuniting with Rick at the end of Season 5, with him going crazy torching his house and clearing areas of people before spending some quality time with Stillman. Long story short, we all know where Morgan has been pretty much the entire apocalypse. But Josh, you didn't say where Morgan was before Rick woke up. Couldn't he have visited the Clarks then? Well, the simple answer is no. The website Business Insider has a quote from Fear's co-writer Dave Erickson, who states that Rick Grimes was in his coma for 4 to 5 weeks, which he said was something that Kirkman told him directly. As previously mentioned, with Fear's third season ending 64 days after the apocalypse started, if Morgan did visit the Clarks before we were introduced to him on The Walking Dead, simply put, we would have seen him on Fear the Walking Dead already. This, combined with the fact that his whereabouts since his introduction have already been detailed, make me confident that Fear will skip forward to the same timeline as The Walking Dead to accommodate Morgan's appearance. My explanation regarding how Morgan will fit into Fear's timeline ties into some of my concerns that I have about this crossover event. With the expected time skip occurring, I am wondering how Fear will wrap things up from its season 3 finale. Said finale ended on a massive cliffhanger, with the status for many of the main characters being unknown, and the show also seemed to be setting up a new antagonist for season 4 in the form of Proctor John. In fact, a lot of the content during episodes 14 to 16 last season were centred on setting up the Proctors as the new villains. I do expect things to pick up from where they left off last time in the season premiere, but I think the show will move on from this rather abruptly in order to get things up to speed. I'll admit I found Proctor John to be a bit silly anyway, especially compared to Taka and the Ottos, who made for amazing antagonists, but I do still think it is a shame that I don't think his potential will be allowed the chance to be fully realised. I also hope that Morgan's inclusion feels warranted from a narrative point of view. Personally, I found the writing to be really strong during Fear's third season, but there's always a chance the show could revert back to its old habits and potentially pick up some bad habits from The Walking Dead when it comes to its storytelling. The show needs to have a good explanation for why Morgan ends up with Madison's group in order to not make the whole thing seem ridiculous. I think that Fear will have Maddie and her group move closer to Atlanta before Morgan is introduced, because if they stay near Mexico, I really don't think the show will be able to pull off Morgan finding them without it feeling stupid. Another worry I have is my fear of the programme turning into the Morgan Jones show. A lot of the pre-season hype and build-up has been exclusively focused on the long-serving character, and I'm worried he could detract from the rest of the cast. The main characters of Fear are all pretty interesting to watch, and I hope their screen time isn't reduced to make way for Mr. All Life is Precious. In addition, I'm not really sure what else The Walking Dead as a franchise can do with Morgan. I mean, his character has been through more highs and lows than a chronic heroin addict. We've seen him go crazy, we've seen him adopt a monk-like persona, and now he seems to be sat somewhere in between. I just hope the show uses him in moderation. If I'm honest, I don't feel as if I need to sit through 16 episodes where he is featured in every single one. And Morgan, if you dare take any screen time away from Daniel Salazar, I'll stab you with your stick myself. Anyway, to conclude, I desperately hope that the Morgan crossover is handled well, and that he doesn't turn out to be an overbearing influence on the show. My ideal scenario would be that the crossover event attracts more viewers to the show, but also serves to exist for a good narrative reason. Putting Morgan in the show to solely increase ratings without having a good story as to why he meets the Clarks may see an increase in viewership to begin with, but I feel that it will only damage the show in the long run. I have to admit that truly I am a bit pessimistic, but maybe that's just my nature. You know, I actually like Morgan as a character, but after watching season 3 of Fear, I would happily have been given another season dedicated solely towards its characters that takes place immediately after its cliffhanger ending. I hope that Morgan doesn't steal all the limelight from Fear's cast, as in season 3 they all came into their own. We will just have to wait and see what happens, but overall I would say I am more nervous about this crossover than I am excited. So there you have it, there's my thoughts on Fear the Walking Dead's and The Walking Dead's upcoming crossover. Please let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. Are you hyped to see Morgan rubbing shoulders with Madison or Nick, or are you a bit apprehensive? Whatever your opinion, just please let me know. As always, thank you very much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.